No, I won't.
Call the meeting to order. If you'd stand for the pledge, please. Alex, can you do the roll call for us, please? Here.
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 Here. Here. We have a quorum. We need to get a motion to approve the meeting agenda if there's no changes.
Make a motion to approve the meeting agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pose. And a motion to approve the minutes from November 4th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes November 4th, 2024.
Second, if everybody else wants to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pose. Okay. New business. Council to consider first reading of the 2025 salary ordinance.
Okay, you've got the, is this working? Hello?
There you go.
No? Okay, we got to talk right into it. Ordinance number 2024-11A. This was prepared for your consideration on first reading. As you can see, it's the same ordinance we've always used. I've identified in red any changes. It was increased 3% as budgeted, pretty much across the board. Couple of exceptions that we did make was down for the building inspector, rather than 2472. I recommend raising him to 2733, same pay as other department heads. And this is, let's see, you went on to section 3, something that Pat and I had discussed, and I know retention is a concern with the police department and with the street and utilities. In the longevity pay, let's see, I'm skipping here. Let me go ahead and skip down to the longevity pay because it helps with the description on why we did in section 2 of the police department. But longevity pay, what we're proposing is years ago, the police department forfeited their longevity because they wanted to join the PERF 77 fund. Back then, money was pretty tight, and the only way that we could make it happen to give them that benefit, they forfeited their longevity. Now that we're in a position to where we can pay for that, we're asking that we can go ahead and include longevity for the officers, and they can be benefiting as well. It used to have a, well, and it still does unless you change it, a maximum of $5,600 per year received by each employee. So that's after like 28, 29 years, I believe it was. So that kind of goes back up to the police department. Section 3, everybody here was increased 3% as budgeted, like I discussed earlier. The patrolman, I added the patrolman non-perf 77 fund at $32.10. The reason for that is because we've got 2 officers that never were part of the perf fund, so they don't get that benefit. So if we're going to give the longevity pay benefit to the other officers, it only makes sense to increase their base pay by that much to kind of balance things out. Going on down the additional benefits, we've been given $1,875 as a bonus for several years since it started. We recommend changing that to $2,000, just nice even round number. Additional benefits, in talking with Chief again, Lieutenant would like to bring that up to $192.30 biweekly. Sergeant 115.38. MS4 operator, 153.85. Utility office manager, 153.85. And then the commercial driver's license, increase that to 57.70 biweekly. Everything else on here is 3%. And then, of course, you can see the chart in the back that shows where each person is paid from. The yellow highlights the 3 positions that the council approved me to go ahead and include into the salary ordinance for next year. So that's where those folks will be paid from once they're hired. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help answer.
Patrick, are you good with these numbers?
I am. Joe and I discussed it in depth and I'm good with that. That's a good step to keep the retention of the police department and stay competitive with the surrounding agencies around us.
It's a step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction for sure.
Missy is not here tonight, but she did say that there is money in the budget for these changes
Yes,
to the
there's
salary
a-
ordinance. So
I went ahead and printed off that email from her, and it's on your desk in
Yeah.
front of you. But, yeah, the funds are here for that.
So the next meeting will be a second reading.
Yes,
So during the next 2 weeks, if we got questions, we'll just
absolutely.
talk
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Yeah. You don't have anything tonight that you want to change? I'll have it updated with all the new numbers for next time, but just keep your questions, and we'll add them or address them.
The only change I thought, I did not know that we were getting a raise.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
I don't think we need
I
one.
agree. I was getting to bring that up.
Okay.
Well, and that's, you guys are more, you can
Oh, I know. but
approve it with that in or out. Take it.
I would vote to take it out.
yeah,
We're not doing it for the money. That's,
So is there a
I don't
consensus?
get to see that money anyway. My wife gets it.
yeah. I think we should just. We give that to the police department.
That's what I was.
I appreciate the sacrifice.
So do we need a motion on the first reading?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 2024-11A minus the council pay raise.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have council to hear from Kevin LaBarr, owner of 305 Wine Garage, concerning the DORA, Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Don't get over the trap. I've written this up. Dear town council members, we, the businesses of owners of Fortville, would like your support in creating a DORA, Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area, for the purpose of creating an economic development boost to Fortville. What are the benefits of a DORA? Number one, stimulate economic activity by encouraging residents and visitors to spend more time and money in designated areas. Two, this can lead to increased foot traffic and higher sales for local businesses. Three, DORAs create opportunities for socializing and community engagement in outdoor settings, which positively contributes to the quality of life initiatives. Four, DORAs can serve as catalysts for the revitalization of downtown areas by helping to create attractive and lively public spaces. Five, DORAs also create synergy among business owners and community leaders to work together to create events for the community, which we really find important. I think lately, a lot of the businesses are coming together and it's just creating a good atmosphere that honestly wasn't that strong a year or so ago when we first bought the wine garage. Noblesville recently created a DORA, and these are the costs that Noblesville incurred. Sidewalk metal post-mounted boundary signage. I think you guys have copies of that signage. Window signage stickers, 30,000 info cups, and coasters. I have here a little. I don't know if the coasters are as necessary, but they're nice. I don't know if it's possible to get more cups than coasters, which would make more sense. But usually the distributors of alcohol will give us coasters free. They're getting a little harder than they used to be, but and coaster and swag for a cost of $7,465. They had budgeted $10,000. And I'm told that our town attorney had said it would cost about $1,500 for attorney fees on that. So we would like your permission to request $10,000 from the RDC to cover the cost of the creation of a Fortville DORA. And I have a letter. I think you guys have that as well. It's signed by a bunch of us in business here. And were any of you, do you have the letter from the tax man?
Yes.
It's just pretty, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. His letter was just perfect. I was going to write one as well, but after reading his, I thought there's just nothing else that I could really add to it. I think it's important. I've seen it in other areas as well. And, you know, we talked about this in another meeting we were at about policing it and stuff like that. And no one seems to be having any problems. All these places don't seem to be having any problems with it. It's not attracting demonstrators. It's been nothing but good, all positive from everyone that we've talked to about it. And I am on the Indian Licensed Beverage Association board, and we've talked about it at length as well. And they're saying the same thing on that board, that we just aren't seeing any problems with it. It's worked out everywhere that it's been implemented in the states. I think that's about all I have today.
So do you guys have a preference in location? Because I think don't we have to include maps, Alex? Or have you guys discussed that or?
Yes, and I think, see if I have this here. Well, we started to, we don't have yeah, it's a Noblesville one. It's not, but you know, we talked about it last time. I mean, who gets incorporated in this? So we talked about the Legion, VFW.
Yeah, I think the Legion wanted to be added in on them. Copy of that out on that.
I've got it here, the one that I highlighted.
I was thinking it'd just be around my restaurant, but
Yeah, these all include Merrill Street here. Yeah, I'll give these to you. This is the only copy I got, but if you want to look at it.
yes. It just goes everywhere.
I mean, we can create more than one, or we can just create one big one and leave it at that. Or, I mean, there's different.
I think everybody else has created just one big one that I think, but
I think there's a couple larger cities that have a couple different ones.
Yeah.
but I guess
They were bigger cities.
Yeah, true. There have been, yes, some efforts. I can think of like Valparaiso. They've got one that's targeted at Journeyman Distillery, and it's a huge compound. And then they're also looking at one that's in the city. So yeah, I mean, the law allows you to create up to, I think, 7 different DORAs, which doesn't make sense for the town of Fortville, but larger cities that may mix it. Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Evansville, and so forth. see that.
The reason why I was thinking of at least two is because landmark doesn't really need to be included in it unless there's a festival of some kind. Because otherwise, I just, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I thought originally that landmark would be. Yeah, so I get that. You probably don't want non-events people in there. I remember we did discuss that. Um, and I don't know,
I mean, it could be.
I don't know how that works, if it can be, plugged in just for the events.
Well, that's why if you have two different doors, like
think
one
so.
for special events and one for every day.
Okay,
So
all right.
that was my
Um,
thought, but
And then so we would need to know exactly what the events are. And I guess you can add and take away from them as well. But yeah, this looks perfect. If I didn't look at the third one. So I'm assuming the town council would prefer it not be a full-time with landmark in it. Is that?
I don't care. That was just I just set it up that way. So it was a choice for everybody. But I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. I mean,
If you are using the glasses or using the cups and stuff, it doesn't just become an open container free-for-all. So I don't
still allow them to go there and sit, I guess. If you had farmer's market going on or something like that too, it
That's
also,
just it. I think the farmer's market should be included in that.
Sure.
So you'd have to do those dates, of course, ahead of time, that type of stuff.
it's just to do the entire thing
That's what I.
year round at certain
I-
times.
Thinking, and I don't think anyone's been omitted. If you put the park in, I don't think anyone's been omitted. And if someone builds something later, then that would just have to be addressed at that time if they want to be.
It can be changed, right? I think it can be changed.
I don't think we did. I don't think Broadway's in there. Is it? I can't remember. I didn't look at it again.
Yes.
You got it on the.
Because I-
map.
West, south,
Okay.
south of Broadway, I think,
Yeah.
or right there, right? South side of Broadway or something.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Up to high.
I think-
Up east
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. I thought I did, but like I did this a long time ago, so I didn't look at it. Yeah. Well, when we first talked about it, that's when I did all these maps and
How we needed it or didn't need it, and it's become apparent, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Any questions for me at all, or?
So first off, you're just asking for our blessing.
Yeah,
you
for
to
your
go
blessing. We
to
just-
RDC to ask for this money. What happens if the RDC denies the money? What's your plan B?
Hadn't gotten that far.
Well, and Libby, I had a related question. And more procedurally, are we approving to have a DORA or specifically for the money? Because maybe it's a question for Alex, but I wonder in these cases, do we first agree to have a DORA and then we discuss the money? Because it seemed like we kind of skipped a step.
we did look at the ordinance twice. I think we did and made some changes to it, but
Don't put the
Would that
words.
I would think the RDC would want to see that first.
Yeah,
before-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that, all of the.
And Alex, is that something that the RDC can fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it benefits. It's not specifically addressed in the statute, in the TIF fund statute, but it is in the spirit of benefiting the TIF district, economic development and those things. So, yeah.
I just wanted to
should
make
not
sure
be-
before
Should
we
not be an
committed.
issue.
So,
Thank you.
that's that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I would think that the ordinance would have to include the map if we want a DORA.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
these were just the preliminary stuff that I did.
Alex has sent us, I think, a copy of somebody else's DORA, a couple other towns' DORAs, so we would just look through that and try to, adopt the language that we would need in
We
certain.
did.
Required to be statute, like signage, what your hours are.
Have you seen the signage? It's pretty neat, those.
I like that signage. I have never seen, I mean, the one that, if this is what Noblesville has,
Yes, Noblesville.
that's really nice. I
It
like
is,
that.
it is.
Yeah,
That's more of a kiosk and it kind of shows
Yes.
the area.
yes.
Like at a mall.
Our signs required around the DORA to
Yeah.
let people know where the boundaries are?
Yes.
So there's an additional.
Some of them on the news.
So that was another question. So you're gonna
You wanna
request
look at
$10,000. Does that include the signage and everything?
Yes,
That-
yeah.
Not just the posters, but the
Yeah,
equipment?
the sidewalk metal posted mounted boundary signage, window signage, stickers, 30,000 info cups and coasters and swag, just different things for doing it. So
They might not spend the whole 10,000. What we're doing is just kind of, then what they would do is, get the estimate for the signage, get the estimate for everything. Then they'd have to go to the RDC each time to turn in an invoice. And then they would say, okay, you can do this. If not, then they say, no, it's not part of that. So it's simpler that way. We go each time, but they might only spend maybe $7,000.
Who's going to manage the DORA? Do we need a manager of the DORA? What else?
So
I mean,
it becomes really of public safety. So I think Fortville PD, I mean, is going to be monitoring some of that. Some of it's self-regulating with the businesses. For example, if there's a business that does not want people to come in to their, clothing store, antique, whatever, with alcohol, then, they can post signs that you don't have to, or a restaurant for that matter that doesn't want, if Matzi doesn't want people coming in with beer, then that's fine. They can do that as well. So it's somewhat self-regulated. But then ultimately, I mean, it's an ordinance, so it's the town council. If you start hearing complaints or hearing concerns or hearing, hey, we'd like to have it extend to this area or that or grow, then it would be within your jurisdiction and authority to add, subtract, restrict, modify the ordinance to fit the needs of the town.
did Noblesville purchase the window signs for the businesses, or did the businesses do it on their own? The ones that didn't want it or did want, do you know?
Noblesville.
They purchased the signs, the stickers, the decals that go on the window.
You saw the stickers.
Yes.
Didn't you? You have the not permitted, sold here, and then welcome. So some people, obviously, a boutique's not going to
Right.
sell alcohol, but they welcome it in. And those that don't, if they have high-end stuff, they don't want, some places just don't want food or drink,
Right.
whatever. You like a drippy ice cream and stuff, and obviously there's sometimes religious reasons and different things like that, or people just don't want it. In Noblesville, I didn't see hardly any red stickers.
Just if I can add one more thing on the enforcement side of things. What I have seen to date is the Indiana Excise Police, they're supposed to visit every restaurant that has an alcohol permit once a year. Come in with like the underage kid and see if they'll sell them beer or whatever.
Right.
And so what I have seen in the communities that I've helped with DORAs is every once in a while I'll get a note saying, hey, the excise officer was out doing compliance checks and noticed that there weren't signs up at such and such, or there weren't signs up at the boundary, or there's, can you get with the town and address that? So some of that enforcement's coming from the state level as well. And I suspect that the way that it goes, if you want to proceed, ultimately, I would upload the ordinance, the map, these designated vendor forms, which are each of the restaurants within the DORA that want to be a designated vendor. There's a form that they sign and you sign. So all that gets uploaded, I upload that. And so the ATC will have not only your contact information, but my contact is the town attorney. So that if concerns like that come up from the excise police, they'll reach out to me. But as he said, from what my experience over the last year, they had very few, if any, problems that have, come up that I'm aware of. I'm sure that they're out there and, there's always something. But from what I've seen, it's been very positive in the communities that have instituted them.
And after in the tax ban letter, after the summer we've had, and I don't know why the summer was worse than last summer with the road construction, but I guess because it changed when they cut off the corridors, it's just been brutal. We need something. And I will say, I heard from pretty good authority that the police department might be getting a raise, so.
Another question. So when the cups run out or the posters, mostly the cups, right? Because that's what shows that
Right.
they're carrying. Then what? Then what are they carrying? Or is it the restaurant's responsibility to order more? And then who manages that? Or are you going to come back next? summer?
Just as we do now, you order them yourself when you need them, no matter where they're going. But I was at one door where they were just using generic. The stickers were all that it took, and I'm trying to think of where that was. Do you know if the cups are absolutely required?
They're not. Yeah, they're not required. They're optional. You can't have glass. They
Right.
don't want you
right.
walking around with glass bottles or things like that. And I've helped at least one community where there isn't a standard cup that goes out, but stickers or something like that each business can have that will denote that, yeah, this is a DORA beverage.
So who does that fall on? Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
Who
you know,
pays for it?
the
Who
owner
manages
isn't
it?
always there to make sure that it's in stock or whatever. So when it runs out,
I don't think we're gonna.
like,
I-
I want to have
Yeah,
all
here's-
the
here's-
things laid out so we know what
here's-
we're
Here's,
approving.
here's the idea behind the cups is just marketing. Once when the cups are done, there's not going to be any more. People are
So
just
there
going to
will
use
be a
them.
sticker like
No,
you just
there
said.
will not be more stickers. It's not necessary. You don't have to have a sticker. Noblesville is going to do away with the stickers also. What's going to happen when the initial marketing part of it is over, because when you scan that cup, it markets the DORA, and that's the whole idea behind it. And then once it's done, most Noblesville's and I think Shelbyville were the only ones that had the cups. Everybody else.
Well, how
was
would you
just-
know that somebody is bringing in an authorized beverage then?
Yeah, I don't. think
If
that's
it
right.
wasn't marked?
You
Like, how
just-
can I just not pour my own in my car and walk
It's
into
saying
the bar?
it's disposable cup. You could take this cup home and put your own stuff in it
Yeah.
and go through there. So I think that's a thing. It's more of the participation of the three dots of what you're willing to allow. I mean, that is part of it.
You're always going to have people thinking that way, but same thing in all these other communities. It might happen.
I just don't think the desire is there for people I'm going to go drink outside in Fortville,
Yeah, I don't think it is either, but that doesn't
Well,
mean it
it's a
won't
lot
happen,
cheaper to
but
go out
yeah.
to my car and pour a
Yeah.
drink and bring it in than it is to buy it in the
Yeah.
place. So I mean, I could see it being desirable. I mean,
if you're,
it,
that part would be true. We would, yeah, I thought
I mean, I think you would want them. I think you're saying it now, but I think once it's over, I think you would actually want them as a
You
business
want them
owner.
to buy, yeah, instead of do what. you
Just
said,
my, I
because
mean, just
it's-
my thought. I think you would actually.
that could be a negative effect economically, obviously, if someone is coming to do it. I just don't think the maliciousness is there for it. Would it be? Sure.
I don't
guess.
care. It's you guys that would care.
Person is completely, there's still an open container law. Person is completely, is there not? Are you allowed to have an open container in an automobile in Indiana?
No.
Not
No.
in-
No.
not in a
So
car.
that person is just stepping out there to begin with and stuff. I just think it'd be pretty far and few in between. I get it, but if you're walking around riding around with an open container, and then is it ice? Is it beer? I mean, what do you do when you're out in your car making a cocktail? I just don't think it's as prevalent as you might.
There would have to be some kind of identifiable regulated cups. There would have to be identifiable, because just change out car for your house. Fine, who's to stop you from pouring a beer or wine in your
Again, I don't
house
care.
and walking out into town and walking into one of your restaurants and saying that came from a different restaurant? That would hurt all of you. I think that was Ryan's point.
Yeah, but
So-
again, I don't care though. I mean, it would be I would let the business owner that
But-
would care, not me.
And I agree with Libby's original question about it, because my question was, is this monetary number, this $10,000, is any of that recurring costs? Because I had the same question. The cups look like the recurring costs there.
Well, the word,
If
the
we're-
wording of it says creation of it. So I don't think it'd just be the beginning.
Right, cups are not a creation. Cups are an expendable,
You
consumable.
could go on to do stickers are cheap. You can buy them by, scads. And if you guys as business owners wanted to contribute together to order stickers, and then
I'm curious,
Or not?
we get a lot of free, they come from the or they come from not the distributor, but we get free glassware and plasticware from, from our vendors. I'm going to ask that question to Monarch and Zinc and see if they would participate. I don't know
Now
if they
you're
would or
thinking outside the
not.
box. There
Yeah.
we
I
go.
will say swag is, they're learning, Monarch got bought out by Reyes.
Yeah.
And now it's just a machine, they've lost all their family loving feeling.
Yeah.
And at my restaurants on 79th and Fall Creek, I'm going to put Zinc, which is AB products, Anheuser-Busch products, on my rail, which I would have done before because of my loyalty to Monarch, because it's a family thing and a service that we personally got. Now Zinc is family too, and they live 3 minutes from AJ's. But both of them, not as much at Zinc now, but swag is getting a lot harder. It's not working like I thought, right down to tickets, Colts, and all this kind of stuff that we had easy access to. It's not working. The T-shirts and the cups and coasters. Coasters are actually becoming a little bit of a commodity. It used to be we'd have cases and cases and cases of them. Now I'm telling them reuse those unless they're just absolutely soaked. Put them in an area, let them dry out, and then we'll use them again. But if the benefit's there, you got to look at the percentage of what we're going to be using this for. It's not, is it going to be 10% of our business, 5%? I mean, who knows what it is? It's going to be great enough that if we, as the restaurateur, bar owner, have to pay for them, we will.
I was gonna say any percentage would be good percentage right now, I would think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there, this is banned on the sticker, or is there something in the law that says we have to have one or the other?
No.
Unless we put it
No,
in
'cause
there.
I was thinking one for sure, and I know he went to two because Corey and I saw the DORA, the signage, and nobody had any marked.
Yeah, it's
stuff
a may.
whatsoever.
You may do that.
And then my last question, I think, is these lovely posters and signs that are out. The posters designate or shows, maybe where you buy. Maybe we'll have all the restaurants and all the boutiques.
Yes,
So
and anyone
when
that's
somebody leaves and this poster needs to get updated, who's going to pay for that? Like, is that on the town to do? Is that do we go back to the RDC? I don't want to take on a lot of more stuff that we have to pay for that I just want to plan, I guess. We can't ask the business. I'm not saying the businesses are going to do it because, you can't
if
get all businesses to do
if
that.
people want to be added, I'd say they drop out. They drop out. If people want to be added, I guess I need to ask the people in Noblesville and Valparaiso how they've approached that, because I
Yeah.
really don't.
I wanted the town to have a directory like by the parking lot that could, because it seems like the north side of the railroad tracks, people get to the railroad tracks and they go, oh, cross the railroad tracks, and they kind of stop and then they turn around and go the other way. And now we've got more businesses down there. You can see people walking around, but I've always wanted a directory there to say, look, there are these things. And we just haven't pulled the trigger. One, nobody's made the map, I guess. And two, who's going to pay for it? Yeah.
I use Minuteman Press for all that type of signage and stuff. I can get with Diana there and ask her what the cost, really is, and if it's updated, and it would just have to be, okay, you're in it, you have the sticker, and then every, I don't know, year, 18 months, 24 months, we update the sign, and we know what the cost is and see. Once again, I think,
I bet
down
there's
in the businesses.
I bet there's types of signs that are easily updated too.
Yes.
For that,
yeah.
for purposes like that. I bet that's out there, I would guess. I mean,
I mean,
something comes out of something and can be easily updated and then put back in or something like that.
yep.
Why not just have a big QR code that you can scan
Or
that has
something
Google,
like that.
that has a Google Map layer
Hey.
on it, but then who updates the Google layer? It's the same question.
Andy.
Yes. No, but
I'm curious what a nice internally lit sign with a digital, what that would cost, but I'll look into all the.
QR code's a good idea.
I like Noblesville's directory.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And then just how do they keep it maintained, right? Like
Mhm.
it looks nice, just how do they keep it updated? Because if any business leaves or a new business comes in, right, then you have to update it again.
So that's what I was gonna ask Diane, if I'm email her tonight, and when you look at that, could you do easy? It's gonna be the last page, right?
Yeah, it would just be the name of the business, the actual where it's at wouldn't change.
Could you do some quick edits, just the bottom part? They're pretty slick. I'll ask them about this type of stuff and see.
Okay, so I guess moving forward here, we need to, let's just get the update on the ordinance and see if we can get it here for the next meeting. And then we can give that to you, or make a decision and create the ordinance first. So you can take it to the RDC and say that,
Perfect. That's what we were looking for.
yeah.
Any public comment before we?
I'd love to stay for the rest of this, but
What'd you say, Kevin?
I'd love to stay for the rest of this, but I gotta go.
Does anybody else have
Okay.
anything to say about it?
Yeah. Anybody else want?
Only, no, actually, no. I don't know of any.
There was one, Martin, at the gun.
I'm not, alcohol and children shouldn't mix, so,
Didn't yours with
but
beer
that's
get-
okay. and
I
I'm
don't
off
think
the beaten
PJ's
path.
was either.
No. No.
PJ's
hear
was,
that at
P-
all
it was,
from
P-
any-
PJ's was the only one.
I-
Yeah, that was the Decker, Nancy Decker and Pam.
Yeah, it's not
He
like.
doesn't want it.
One of their applications rained out and they changed the date. Because of that, they didn't have the permit. Third one was the only one they had people to actually get out there and do that. When we're talking about including landmark park, I don't know all of the ins and outs on if you can have it there all the time or whatever it is. But I do think if you're planning things in the park, the amount of red tape that the VFW, they had to pay $50 every time that they did for the application.
I feel like if they had all the dates, that it could get covered on one permit. If I might be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, if I were voting on this, I would say it cover it all the time, for that type of thing. I don't know. We put that Be Local thing together so fast. By the way, thank you, everybody. That was a big success and we got tons of compliments from not for the wine garages, for the town, wine garage too, doing it and stuff, and having the band at both ends really worked out too, as we included everybody, and there's a lot of thought there, but that was put together really fast, and the DORA would have been pretty cool for that.
So that's what we're hearing. You'd like to encompass the whole area and make it, what about your time of day, or a lot of these have a specific time, like 11 to 11, Monday through Sunday, or
Yeah, I would think your typical business. I don't think nothing good happens after midnight with that anyway.
I don't think anybody's open
Yeah,
after 11.
yeah,
on Main
not
Street.
here. The
Yeah,
town closes
Right,
at
it should be 11, I think.
9 o'clock. so,
Related business then.
Yeah,
I would think 11 o'clock would be fair.
yeah, okay. Just want to get your opinions here before we.
Are there any downsides of having that DORA with the park at all? Like
See,
all the time? No?
What was your
I
question?
just asked him if there was any downside of having the DORA with alcohol allowed in the park, because we've not allowed alcohol in the park.
Just come to us and ask for permission.
Yeah,
so I-
yeah. So I just wondered if
feel
there was a
like-
downside to it, to allowing it.
You may
but-
need to amend your ordinance.
Well, let's be clear though, it's not just alcohol in the park. It's something that has to be purchased from the town and then taken into the park.
Mhm.
No, if it was included in the DORA, you wouldn't have to do any of that.
You wouldn't have to.
We still approve all the events. So.
The event would be approved, right?
But Libby, are you wondering if this would to arise in people going to buy a beer at Taxman, say, and just going and sitting in the park? And like, do we care?
Yeah.
Or
That.
People
Somebody who
loitering,
doesn't know what a
sitting around?
DORA is. And then they might go and hang out at the park and take their cooler. I don't know. I was just asking the question. Okay. Had
Is
it.
there-
Oh,
I think somebody doesn't know what it is, doesn't know what it is as well, though. Does that make sense?
Right.
I think it can be done effectively if it's promoted properly and educated and people are educated and get the word out there that this is happening and this is going to be how it's going to be enforced and this is the boundaries. And as long as everyone's aware of it, the good people are going to follow the law like they always do. And you're always going to have the people that don't.
I think it's important to do it as simple as possible.
I would agree. And then if that's, you could do a particular fine for, if you're outside the DORA, if you're not within the limits. I mean, this is getting $100, $200. I don't know what the citation would be, but there's a revenue side for on that as well. And because we want it policed. I mean, what you were talking about earlier, I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but I don't want it, a bunch of people hanging out in the park or in front of the wine garage, thinking that this is a free for all, because it just wouldn't be.
I would think if they were going to do it, they'd be doing it now.
Say again.
I think they would be doing it now if they were
Yeah.
going to do it. So
Yeah, exactly. We often think about the area that belongs to the town, the patio, in front of us. I think somebody had put on, I don't know if it was Nextdoor or one of these, or maybe it was Facebook, the Fortville happenings. I thought they were insinuating that we were saying that was our property, and we make it very clear that it's not our property. We know where it goes. Now, the ATC did say, don't worry, you could do, you could serve in, you don't have to serve in plastic there, and that type of stuff. We get it. We're not upset if the town's not upset. And we do maintain that stuff quite well, I think. I'd like to have the flagpole area too, but told there's any problem there. But that'd be a funeral for that, I guess. Here, we see people and wonder sometimes, if when it wasn't a plastic, they're all drinking a plastic, that come from us, or did it not, come from us? So once they said you don't have to serve in a plastic, we know that it came from us. Well, probably a smart on their part. It was probably smart. That might have been his mindset when he told me that was just with all doubt. They're not in your nice wine glasses or your stuff. It's not from. And we did buy plastic. They look just like the other ones, but they're plastic. They're out there. So. Anything else for me, or
Unless anybody else got anything else to say about it out there?
There is an open container law in Indiana. I don't know if it's ever really been enforced. It's a let's not be stupid law, in my opinion. You're not out drunk, causing a scene, causing problems. If you're walking up and down Main Street and you have a red Solo cup, I'm not going to stop you and ask what's in that Solo cup. But I can tell you that there is a law that says that there are certain areas you can't do that. And
the door part is definitely tied to the businesses that are dispensing it. The red Solo.
Yeah.
Let Alex straighten this out because
Yeah.
Just to
that's
clarify.
that's not right.
The only open container law in the book, the chief mentioned this, has to do with open containers in the only open container law and under Indiana law has to do with open containers of alcohol in automobiles.
That's what
in
I thought.
cars, period. There is no law that prohibits you or Bob Starrett, if he would ever do something like this, from walking out of his, walking out of his house and walking all around Fortville,
You saw him
wherever
too?
he's allowed with a glass of wine or beer or margarita. Should he choose to do that? But as Chief was saying, when you do, and I advise my clients of this as well, when you do that, you may draw some attention to yourself. And if you've had maybe a margarita or too many, then it may be cause for one of the officers to step up and assess whether you're a danger to yourself or someone else, which would then give rise to public intox violation and ticket. But that's not for open container. It's you're out in public or on a public, you can't be on a bus or public transportation drunk either and a danger to yourself. Those are different things. And so then as he mentioned, what the DORA really did was a lot, if cities and towns choose to create one, allow businesses to then responsibly check to make sure, one, their customers over 21 isn't intoxicated. And if that's the case, then sell them up to 2 drinks to go that they can walk out of their restaurant or bar with an open container. Without a DORA and before the DORA statute was enacted, Indiana law was kind of silent on it. You may remember, this is probably far too much than you want to know, but years ago when we had the Super Bowl, the Alcohol Tobacco Commission, and I remember the general counsel called me and asked me, somebody's in Broad Ripple and they order a Long Island and they want to walk down Broad Ripple Avenue. Can you do that? And I'm like, hell no, they can't do that. And like, really? And we talked through it and then the law was silent. So for the Super Bowl, the Alcohol Tobacco Commission said, yeah, you can do that. And that's why downtown Indianapolis, people were walking around with red Solo cups. 3-4 years after the Super Bowl, the ATC had a change in leadership and change in some excise, and they decided they didn't want to have that anymore. And so they started talking about original container and some other things that they got to, saying, okay, we changed our mind. Now restaurants can't do that. So DORA fixes that so that we'll allow restaurants and bars within a DORA if they choose to participate as a designated vendor, or if during Winterfest or we have other festivals where there are outside vendors that come in, they can get a temporary designated vendor and set up and have alcohol that then, instead of having the way that we do it now, where they have a temporary event permit and they can only drink in that premises for Winterfest or whatnot, they could buy their wine or beer or whatnot and then walk throughout the town and go listen to music. So that's what the DORA opens up, is it addresses this legal fiction that Super Bowl caused the agency and the state to get tied up in knots, and they found a fix for it. This is Alex talking, but it's the way that it happened. Super Bowl goes away. They wanted to curtail people walking around and out of restaurants and bars with open containers. So they said, no more of that. DORA fixes it.
Yeah, at my other establishments, you cannot come in and order a cocktail and walk outside with it. I can sell you a 6-pack or even a single beer. You cannot open it. It has to be in the original container. You cannot open it. You get your card. I'm no longer responsible. There's a lot of hubbub during COVID. There was a lot of misinformation. You probably remember they were giving bars and restaurants leeways of what they could and could not do. And I had the excise in one time, one day after the other. Like I'm a grown man. I understand what you said. We didn't, but there was just so much misinformation out there, about it. So that part, like he said, has always been our governance. From the ATC, our liquor license, that you cannot give that drink and you go. The DORA allows that. So you could never do that before, but it's always been an open container in a car, in an automobile is illegal.
And just to be clear, in case people have seen it in the Star, There was also a change this year about to-go cocktails. So that is something different from DORA that any of these folks can do irrespective of the DORA. Has to be in a sealed container without a straw hole, so on and so forth. But that's another piece that finally, again, Alex speaking, there's some sanity in the law, which is unusual. They're allowing restaurants and bars to sell these to-go cocktails instead of before then, Mexican restaurant or bar could sell you a fifth of tequila, the margarita mix, and some limes. Here you go. And you can walk out with that and then mix your own margaritas on the sidewalk. Again, inviting the police to maybe come and see what you're up to. But from the restaurant, who's one of their most valuable assets is that alcohol permit, they wouldn't be violating the alcohol laws that regulate them. So again, the DORA fixes this, and it's not the same as the to-go cocktails, which that is 100% on the restaurant to make sure that they've got the proper sealed lid and containers that they're selling.
Yeah, and once again, when I talk to others about this municipality stuff, when they say basically zero issues with it, that's part of the zero issues. It didn't become a free for all. I think most people got it. And as you said, learning, putting it out first, let everybody see how it works and what it is. And it's just for such a small area to begin with, anyway. And they're going to another business. If they take that drink to their car, they're breaking the law. So people break the law every day, I guess, but so that's part of it as well. It has. If you're outside the door, you're in violation. That's where I recommend the $100 fee, and then you get.
Unless you're walking home naked and
Yeah, again,
staggering.
Nobody's gonna say
Not gonna
nothing.
be
You're
here.
staggering all over the street and hanging on the poles.
Dave likes to.
So he was right.
Okay,
in his
thanks,
question.
Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
He was right in his question then. So now if you happen to leave the DORA area with the
Yeah,
drink.
and that's why there's signage at the boundaries of the DORA, periodically to let people know, hey, you're now leaving the DORA. And so legally, you ought to, yeah.
Alex is,
Stop you from your house pouring a beer and walking in.
No, it's sort of like going into the DORA area is still okay on foot, going out of the DORA area on foot, not okay. That's what I'm hearing out of it.
Right.
With the DORA drink.
I don't know for certain why that is the case. I suspect it's to address one of the issues that you've touched upon this evening, which is if you don't have a designated, or even you do have a designated cup, right? We've got branded cups, and Dave's, gets his margarita, he gets to the boundary line, polishes off the margarita, goes home, refills it in his cup. It kind of like if the rule is DORA drinks are supposed to be consumed within the DORA and not
It sounds liability related, but you tell us.
it's not going to be a liability
No.
for will the town get sued? Yes, that's just the business of, that the town gets sued for everything, just like the state does and whatnot.
Not in violation of the container law unless you get.
Correct.
So it's
So
not
it's a violation for a law thing. It's
Yeah,
not-
but they're going to cite I think that's not a town liability. I can see excise if, and I think it's a pretty significant if, outside of maybe one of the larger festivals that might draw some more attention, and excise presence for that enforcement to come. And I think that Dave would be the one that would get maybe a warning or a citation from the excise officer or Fortville PD, saying, hey, you should have polished that off or thrown it in the trash can before you crossed over into the neighborhood. But it's not going to be could somebody sue the town? Of course. Yeah. Okay.
Let's,
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna move forward. Yeah, yeah. I think
Alex,
we're-
is this adopted with a resolution or an ordinance?
Ordinance.
Okay. Do we have everything we need to have first reading at the next meeting?
Some changes here that I think we made
Yeah,
the last time.
Council just lets me know what changes. I know we, couple months back, we batted around a couple versions of it and had some thoughts and feedback. If you all just let me know before the next meeting over the next 2 weeks where you want to be, I can get an updated version of that and then
Sounds
Be
like we
ready
need
to go.
to like finalize times, map, and
Yep.
the matter of like the cups or who pays for the cups or see how we want to address that. or
Yes.
whatever, Like that kind of stuff.
The cups don't really have to be part of the adoption.
it's a May.
ordinance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you wanted
So
to add that.
that's something
later-
that can be decided.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea. I'm just,
Libby and I would both feel better about cups addressed. I don't know.
Okay, moving on. We have no more old business. We don't have any old business. Joe?
let's see here. First of all, I want to let the council and the public know that we applied for the community crossing matching grant funds for the 2024 second round. This was to repave all of Timber Ridge and everything north of Hamilton Street up there pretty much. Curb replacements, ADA ramps all being replaced and patching some of the bad places in the road. We were awarded a preliminary award of $892,282 from NDOT. So we've got 4 months to put our contract together or go out to bid and get our contracts and get under contract, I guess, with the contractor. So we did get that award and we're moving forward.
Good.
The other documents that I've been working on here is our annual update to our road mileage. Looks like we're going to be adding 1.352 miles to our inventory. And this I need to get Tanya's signature so I can submit it. Don't remember if I brought this up at the last meeting, but if I did, it warrants, I think, a second recognition. Sydney Townsend, who works at our water and sewer plants. She did pass her operator certification for water treatment, class WT3. She passed it at 84%. Very proud of her. I know those classes are hard to take and hard to pass. So very proud of her and congratulations for that. It looks like there's going to be a ribbon cutting for the Broadway and Maple and Main Street project completing. I'm hoping it's going to be finished up this Friday and open all the roads up. So the ribbon cutting is at 10 a.m. and should conclude by, 10:30 or so. It's Friday 10 in the morning. Another item I was going to share with you is we did send out the unknown service line letters to people. We're starting to get reports back. We're starting to get some of the inventory back. People are setting up appointments for us to come and review. And if anybody listens to WIBC, I believe Brownsburg they've sent their letters out too, and they're getting hammered pretty hard because people just don't understand it. And unfortunately,
It seemed like a misunderstanding when I was reading it.
it did. Well, the thing is, this is the verbiage that's required by the EPA. So they put together 3 different letters that we have to use. One is known lead line, unknown, or possible. So we had to use each one of those letters. All of ours were unknown. We did try to add in some language to let people know that we do test for lead and we've been in good shape. And so we don't have any lead water mains in our system. The way the letter reads sounds like people could be downstream from a lead water main somewhere. We don't have a lead water main. So now I'm not going to say that, in the past, a lot of the solder for like copper pipes would have some lead in it. Some of the brass may have some lead in it, and they've quit making those out of with any kind of lead today. So, but this is, it's a federal mandate and it's something that we are doing our part. We got the letter sent out on the time frame that we were supposed to, met the deadline, and we'll get the inventory done and report that back to IDEM as well. That's all I have this evening, unless you have something for me.
I do.
Do we have the schedule for next year's meetings yet? When do you guys put that together?
We haven't, you got it put together? Oh,
Okay,
yes,
okay, okay. Just curious.
Council meetings are
Okay.
pretty much
Yeah.
always the same, but planning commission, RDC, BZA, all those, make sure that they're.
Joe, I had a couple questions for you, about, so you mentioned about, the ribbon cutting and NDOT, being done soon, hopefully. I wondered about that because there are some things, that are definitely not done yet. The light at Maple Street's not, not operational yet. Is that all stuff that you're expecting to happen sometime this week?
Thinking they said that the lights functioning Wednesday. They want to monitor them for a couple days to check timing and for the traffic and everything before they actually open the roads up.
And that, I remember from the last meeting that I think it was, I think Steve was saying that they plan to have the light ready by the 14th. And, that the contract was, this is more curiosity on my part. The contract information book said November 15th for the total like final date. And it mentions $2,500 a day fee owed on every day late that the project is. And I just wondered, is that, are we tracking to that at all? Are we just kind of set with, it's gonna be done Friday? What about the?
That's
15th?
due to Duke. That's Duke's problem.
Yeah,
'Cause they
it
couldn't
took a
turn
little
'em
while for Duke. I think Duke didn't even set the meter till the 14th. And they knew that weeks ahead that it
The
was.
first day.
that
almost
long.
Wednesday.
But I really can't answer the question. I mean, it's NDOT's questions probably. I mean, I'd be happy to answer, but I don't have.
Yeah, I figured the money wouldn't be coming to us, but,
Right, exactly.
but I was just curious because that all, it was all supposed to be done on the 15th. The light, 2 weeks ago, they had said that it would be ready on the 14th. Because right now, the matter of crossings on Broadway is really perilous because the light doesn't work. Somebody was complaining on Facebook about, playing Frogger, right? So, crossing at Maple is pretty impossible. People are still crossing at Merrill. Now, NDOT mentioned that they were gonna put a median at Merrill. I personally didn't like that idea. I don't care for that, but they said they were gonna do that, and there doesn't seem to be any sign that that's Is that still happening?
Took it out.
Yeah, it actually, well, I don't want to say they took it out. It was never in the plan. They had talked about adding it to the plan and they never did add it.
Is there,
So they said that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. They said that they'll monitor it, and if it ends up being an issue, that they can come back and install it.
is there a permanent place where somebody could go look at the plan, or is the plan something that is more just emails and communications between people? Because
I don't know if I've got the latest and greatest set of drawings, but I can share them with you. And
Yeah.
it's probably, I don't know if you've been emailed those drawings before, but
there are drawings, there's nothing conceptual. Like, for example, the person who was saying, "Oh, I'm having trouble crossing Maple Street." Somebody else replied, I noticed, and said, "I thought there were supposed to be medians with trees, like a promenade kind of look, and that's completely wrong. That's not happening." But I tried to go find the document to send them the link to it on Facebook to be like, here's the conceptual rendering of what they're supposed to be. There were never supposed to be medians and islands and things. But I can't find anything like that. When I
We-
go look at NDOT's repository, there's just drawings that you'd kind of have to be like a civil engineer to
Exactly.
really make sense.
that was something listed from NDOT and blocked me engineer from the beginning. It's conceptual drawing so the public can be able to envision what's happening, what's coming, and what it's going to look like. That was something we were never able to get them to do. So like you say, the engineer drawings to build by is the only thing that we've got to look at.
So, yeah, just my final comment on that point. A lot of times NDOT says, well, you all had a chance to comment on it back at the meeting, in 2022 or whatever, the few meetings that there were. But if but I go back to what was shown I didn't live here then, but what was shown at those meetings, because if they were shown civil engineering street drawings, then I can imagine that nobody would have anything intelligent to say about that. Because I reviewed them and there's nothing really to say. So if you could send me whatever you had,
Sure.
I'd just be curious. I was trying to find something helpful to send people and I found myself short as well. There's no way to prove or disprove there were ever supposed to be medians with trees, so.
That was discussed. I know they talked about putting a median on the east end where it comes up to 13. Early on, there was talk about a roundabout going in there. So there's been a lot of things talked about, but as far as what actually made the design and the drawings, that's pretty much what's out there today.
Yeah, and I sent, and I guess my final other question about NDOT is that I sent around an email earlier today because I checked out all the crosswalks because they were supposed to have, they have these flashing lights, but the crosswalk, I mean, they're not really functioning as they should right now because I guess nobody's used to it. So the cars still are flying in from McCordsville. You hit the light and nobody's stopping for the light. So I just wanted to mention that again here for everybody's benefit. But, but it's sort of perplexing going back to the plan because NDOT made a big point to include the Garden Street entrance as part of the plan, and they redid the Garden Street entrance, and I'll hold my comments about that for once. But, there's a crosswalk, which the cars aren't stopping for right now. I think that's going to be a matter of training or tickets or whatever it's going to take. But there isn't even a sidewalk. There isn't even a way to get to that crosswalk from Garden Street. There's no sidewalk. They made a big deal about redoing the entrance to Garden Street, but there's no sidewalk. You have to cut through private property and then walk over a grassy median just to get to that crosswalk. Because I'm not walking through that Garden Street entrance. There's no way because I'd get run over by all the cars. So that whole thing is sort of perplexing. The crosswalk, it's got a little bit of a head scratcher. If you go out there and just try to walk it, if you were to pretend like you live on Garden Street and you were just to try to get to it and go across it and nobody's catching the lights, that's just my one final overall comment about that. That whole situation is not working very well right now.
I will bring up that at the last progress meeting we had, NDOT actually brought up that very thing as far as the crosswalks. And they're looking at adding additional signage saying that state law that you're supposed to stop if there's pedestrians in the crosswalk and any other kind of signage to make it maybe stand out a little bit more, to let people know that they need to stop.
Most crosswalks are at some kind of either traffic stop or at least an intersection where cars know to be on guard that something's happening. But the unique thing about these crosswalks is that they're just at random places on the street where there's no intersection. So kind of goes both ways. I haven't seen that particular kind of sign before. Like it kind of flashes like a strobe light, but nobody seems to.
We've got them on Michigan and Maine and Michigan and Madison.
Yes, they exist.
Oh, okay.
I don't have like a load of experience looking at those types, but I'm not surprised that the cars aren't acknowledging them because they're flying in because they're coming in from, McCordsville where they're dropping down from 55 to 40 and getting down to 30 coming into Fortville, right? So they're going fast. I guess they're just not paying attention to it. And it's a yellow flashing light. It's not really like the red, so, whatever it's in.
I think it
is
might
what
help
it is.
too when the stoplight goes in, it'll stop the flow of traffic coming through there without stopping. Like right now, nobody is stopping because there's nowhere to stop.
Stoplight at Maple?
Yeah. So I'm just saying it'll start slowing the traffic down eventually because eventually there'll be a place that you have to stop because right now there isn't. So they're
Right,
just
yeah, right now
going
it's
through
just a
without
free-
thinking of
free
stopping.
for all.
So it might help. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying. So after the stoplight gets put in and, and maybe it helps.
Just changing the speed limit is going to take a long time for people to adjust.
But I mean, my comments also for Chief Bratton, I think it's just going to be a matter of it needs oversight, it needs training and, announcements and stuff. And also Merrill, I mean, I didn't like the idea of a median. I think that's the logical place to cross to get north to Fishers. But but if they're not doing it, now it's really just, it seems worse than before.
I think that people will cross more on Maple at the light too, when it'll split it up a little bit at least.
Yes, that's true.
Because I will. I live on Merrill and I'll still
Most
cross the
people
Maple.
will.
Always have.
Right now, they're both crazy, but maybe if there's a more logical option, maybe, yeah. So anyway, those were the few comments I just wanted to make about NDOT, if you send me that.
Sent that was good. I would encourage you to send that to the email with the 67 project.
Just flying by. Yeah, because I was like, cool, I'm gonna get to cross now. I hit the button and nobody stopped. So I hit the button again and just started videoing it. So maybe I'll pop it on Facebook for everybody to look at and,
But send it
it's a crosswalk now.
Send it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll do that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I have some, I took a couple of pictures, but you were talking about sealing the roads. What roads are you talking about? The roads that are needing work in Fortville, the grant that you got?
Everything in Timber Ridge, everything north of Hamilton Street, pretty much. Hamilton, or Leland down to Hamilton, Center down to Hamilton.
I took some pictures at Maryland, Michigan. It's getting really bad down the center. It's cracking really bad,
No,
like
it's
all
not.
up Merrill and down Michigan there. I mean, it's going to get close to big potholes.
I was looking at that, pretty much all Merrill Street.
Yeah.
Looks
It's
like,
getting pretty
for
bad.
even Broadway and everything coming up through there, I was noticing. And when it's halfway wet like this, where the surface is dry and all the cracks have got the moisture in them, it really makes them stand out. So it's easy to see where the,
Mhm.
the weak spots are
I'll
at.
send you a picture if you need me to, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's getting, I
I was-
think it
I
needs
was driving
addressed
up-
or we're going to lose it.
I was driving up Merrill. So
Yeah, right up the middle of the road.
it's the middle.
Cracking and from all the
It's all the
that
heavy,
way.
it's all the heavy trucks.
I think we sealed something up Merrill a while ago, didn't we? Didn't something get sealed up that way or something? It's holding up pretty good.
I'm not sure where you're talking.
I was talking to Mr. Hyde about it, and he was talking about something that had been sealed, fairly recently, and it's holding up.
Probably the
real good.
latest on the north side of the highway was from Ohio Street down to this ditch. There.
Okay.
That was capped.
he was
That's
just
been
saying,
several years
yeah.
ago.
He pointed it out to me, and I would agree that I didn't really notice it until I mean, it's getting bad, I
Yeah.
think. So.
Well, and it's just like with the road paving, we have to do an inventory on all the roads and rate every block between street and street. So we pretty much got that down for this year. In fact, I have to have that submitted by the end of this month. I've still got to add these other roads that we're turning in. So those segments in 1.3 miles or whatever, I'll have to add those to the list. But then each year that we go for our community crossings, we have to have that in place to be able to identify which roads are in bad shape and need addressed. And unfortunately, the way our funding comes in for the road money, our match to this $890-some thousand is going to probably be a year or two of our paving money. So this project will happen next year and we can pave then. We can go ahead and apply after that for possibly the year after. But, our small paving budget only goes so far. So we try to leverage it for the grants. And I think it's 75-25 match.
Adam, you got anything for us?
Nothing for me unless anybody has any questions on anything.
Heath is not here. He did he? Okay. Patrick,
Just to let you know, Heath and I have been talking about Winterfest and where things are going to go and how things are going to work and the parade and all that. So I think we have a pretty good game plan on how that's going to go, and he's going to push it out here pretty soon to everybody and go from there.
Is that December 7th? Is
It
that right?
December 7th. So I think it starts at noon, parade's at 1:30, tree lighting is at 6:30, and it ends at 7. That's where we were at. So, you all have a copy that we talked about last meeting with the upfitting of the K9 car and why it was a lot more expensive than any of the other vehicles because all the specialty K9 equipment. I will need a approval to get that paid since it's over Joe and I's spending limit. If you guys are okay with that, or if you have questions about it, I can answer the best I can on it.
I have no question.
Need a motion?
I would
Yeah.
like one, yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the Passive Security Solutions invoice to outfit the K9 vehicle.
On the back page.
Sorry, $16,310.58.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next I'd like to talk about PD benefits, which we talked about briefly last meeting also, of how to keep the retention of the officers we have. I know we already talked about salary ordinance and things like that. This is just a benefit per holidays. So currently, the officers get 6 of the holidays that are paid. I'd like to see that increased to the standard 12 that everybody else gets in vacation days, but that would take a change in the town handbook, if that's possible, or for discussions or whatever. I think we can just have that drawn up for the next meeting,
If, council in favor.
if the council
Yeah.
considers that.
I mean, what would be the reason that they wouldn't have the same as everybody else?
It was changed. When I first started, we used to get all standard 12 vacation days. I think in
They-
07, 08. it
Yeah, I
was
don't
changed.
don't
It was
remember why it was
6.
changed, but they get PTO time versus holidays. Because
Yeah.
they can't get the holidays off.
Right. We don't give them the choice to have the holiday off. They're working the holiday. Working nights, weekends, holidays, everything. But they currently only get basically time for time. If they work 12 hours, they get their 12 hours of time to use somewhere else throughout the year. But currently they only get 6, but the town has 12 holidays.
So we're gonna keep it. The PTO and 12 holidays or changing PTO so that the holidays are, now they have the holidays.
Right.
It
So the
wouldn't be-
way the PTO works is they get their 2 personal days, like everybody else in the town does, and then they get 6 holiday days, equaling 8 days total. They work basically 4 days a week. So that's 2 weeks vacation, with their 6 days of holiday and 2 personal days. I'd like to extend that so they get the 12 holidays plus the 2 personal days still.
I think just to clear it up a little bit, when you use holiday, it gets confusing.
Right.
Police department don't get holidays.
Yeah.
They get all PTO. So right now they're getting 8 days of PTO. He's looking to raise them to 14 days of PTO, which would equal the 12 hours of holidays. that
It's just changing the
Correct.
system.
It'd be a change in the ordinance on the timekeeping procedures for the police department. And I think that would help with retention to show that, we're trying to work with some things and get steps going to, like the salary ordinance. Keep the good officers we have around.
Yep.
So if you guys would like, I can get that proposed and written up, and then Alex, that takes 2 for a handbook change. Is that a resolution or a?
I can't remember. That's
Not sure.
but I'll,
Okay.
I can go through there and make some proposed changes, just like I did with the salary ordinance, and send it to you, because Alex's office looks at all of our HR stuff as far as the handbook and everything goes, to make sure everything's worded proper.
Do we need to approve anything tonight or?
Well, just if you're all kind of in favor of it, that'll let me go ahead and make the changes. If you're not in favor, then
I'd say write it
I'll
up.
save my time.
Right. And then, I don't think I have anything else unless you have something for me.
I do not.
Oh, we're having our shop with public safety on December 14th. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay, Missy is not here. Adriana is not either. We have,
They-
we have a, or did you want to say it? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna remind you.
Yeah,
You
okay.
got it.
Yeah, she needs a motion from us to approve the $2,700 for our holiday dinner this year. She still has donations coming in too. But we need to approve that tonight so she can take care of that.
I'll make a motion to approve the $2,700 for the town holiday dinner.
I second.
All in favor? All opposed?
This is an important cost. We're all going to become really good friends. It's going to be totally amazing.
Networking.
I like it.
Oh. Yeah. Alex, you have anything?
I don't, unless you have any other questions for me.
Public comment? Anybody?
Bob Starrett. It is something really easy, but I think it's something that should be looked at. Heading west out of town, the turning lane onto Garden Street and the turning lane into Dollar General are almost next to each other. And I've seen people almost run off the road because I know how to do it, but there are a lot of people that don't have a clue on how to drive. And so I think if there's some kind of a dotted line or something to show if you're following along, you get over into the middle, they're right next to each other. And I think something needs to change there. It's just very confusing and as soon as the road starts opening up even more, you're going to see people not
I
knowing what to
personally
do
like
down
them to
there.
take out the left turn.
Do you mean the middle lane
Yeah,
or?
the middle lane to turn left onto Garden Street, going
Yeah.
that direction,
Yeah.
is almost right next to the turning lane going into the Dollar General. The main line going through town turns into a turning lane.
That was brought
If you
up,
keep going straight, it turns into a turning lane.
that was brought up to NDOT at the last meeting and they're going to look at it.
Okay.
What ends up happening when you go west, you get down there, one lane turns right and one turns left.
Yeah.
There's no straight. So
Exactly.
they need to put a straight
Something
arrow.
needs to
over it.
happen.
Yeah.
I just think it's
Yeah.
a flaw.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
They're aware of it. We've made them aware of it.
Add that.
Sharon Beatson, you guys, I want to tell you, I love the streetlights out on Broadway. They're absolutely beautiful
They're not
and makes
working.
it so nice to walk on the
They're
nice
on. Oh,
wide sidewalk that we have. It's
Right.
just gorgeous. And you know what? I know it's been a pain for 2 years, but it's coming together and it's looking wonderful. So thank you. Then I have something for the spring I want to bring up, but we'll talk in the spring. Okay, Joe.
Okay.
On one other thing I forgot. The crosswalks are the crosswalks on Broadway going to look like the crosswalk sign out on Madison with the flashing light and the
I think they already do.
sign
They
on
have-
it?
they
Right, it's already there.
That's what she was talking about. They're on.
Well, that's what I was I don't know. I haven't been out to play with the one on Poplar to see if it works.
and
yet.
I haven't been out to play with the one at Madison,
they-
but they're there.
The one
They
that
work.
works.
They work, but nobody's stopping. is
Yeah.
What she's saying.
Functionally don't work because nobody's stopping. You press the button and it's flashing, but all the cars just keep flying by. So
Because
Wow.
nobody's used to them being there. You got to remember, there's going to be an adjustment there.
Yeah.
But I personally, and I've told
You need
people,
time.
you need to be very careful about not jumping out in front of the traffic. I mean, this is a state road that nobody has ever crossed like that. So, I mean, we were always told as a kid, there was nothing to see on the other side of 67, so don't go there. We just didn't, so
yeah,
it was a busy highway and it still is.
be careful, but it's illegal
But
for
the
cars
nice
to go
thing-
there.
And a lot of people don't know that. There are many people that do not know that. I did not know that. But I mean, I did when I worked downtown, but local streets, I just never really paid attention to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks,
Yeah.
guys. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, too. I've got another one. The banners on Main Street. Woohoo! Those are nice and new, and you guys did a good job. The guys and the twinkle lights. I can't wait till they come on. Anyway, 'tis the season.
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah.
That's what I do too. If I was gonna cross it.
I don't think they'll stop for that either.
Nikki Davis, and I've had a couple questions on the letters that Joe was talking about being sent out on the inspection on the water lines. Is that telling those residents to get somebody out and inspect their water lines?
I think us, right?
And send it
Did you
with-
get a letter?
No. but
I've got a
had
copy I
two
can give you.
people that Got letters that asked me about.
I've got a copy if you'd like to have a copy of it. What it does is it's got the explanation on here, not a very good one. But that's the verbiage we were supposed to use. It's got an actual survey you can fill out and send back. You can scan the barcode on here and it will take you to Commonwealth's page where you can fill out the survey there. or there's a place that you can click onto a calendar that Andy had set up to where they can schedule an inspection and our guys will come out and take a
Well,
look.
these people thought you were telling them to call somebody and get them out to inspect.
No.
They're throwing the letters away. Oh, throw them away.
And
Throw 'em away, call the town.
we'll be following up with them because we've got to we got to be able to account for all the service lines at some point in time.
That's-
Yeah.
they-
They can take a picture of it and send
Yep.
it to you, right?
Yep.
They can take a picture of it and send it in.
Right, 'cause
Chris, and check box, what kind of pipe you have?
Letter-
Lead, copper, galvanized plastic, or
letter's just asking about what kind of plumbing you have inside your house, right? It's not,
on the survey, it actually talks
From-
about both. It says water service line
Right, from the
entering the home and the
street
plumbing
into-
inside the home. We can tell them. It's where it comes into the house.
In the house.
But the meter doesn't count. We're responsible
Well-
up to the meter, but they want us to be responsible for knowing the material from the meter pit into the house.
no, there is the picture in there, just to simplify the matter, the picture in the letter, because I got the letter, and the picture in the letter means like you go look at your main water shut off and look at what kind of pipe is connected to that, right? Like,
Right.
that's it, basically.
Galvanized lead, copper, or PVC, or poly pipe.
PEX or-
It's the, yeah, PEX. Yep, and we can take them off the list and they're good to go.
Thanks, Becky. I was kind of confused too, so thank you.
You want?
And that's probably all they read too. That's usually how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Then they threw the
They read to a certain point and then.
It wasn't compelling enough for them to keep the rest of it.
Rich is ready for his turn.
Yeah.
I'll keep mine nice and brief here. Rich Case, Fortville Action Inc. I am just up here to invite everyone out. We are doing a small business Saturday event where we had great response on the Christmas trees in the alley this year. Businesses are going to start decorating them and have already started on that Saturday. We'd love if town council and whoever else wants to come out and be present. But 6, we're going to be kind of hosting the event to light all the trees at once and then encourage people to go out and shop for Christmas, since it is Small Business Saturday that day. It's the Saturday before Winterfest. So come on out in the alley at 6 on that Saturday. We'd love to have you guys out there.
That's the 30th, right?
Yep, 11:30.
And
Thanks,
then
guys.
At 6 PM?
Yep.
Okay. Council comments.
I just wanted to say I'm missing the ribbon cutting on Friday, and I'm bummed. I'd like
You're
to
probably gonna be
celebrate.
on vacation.
I get a vacation. Summer's over. That's it, though. Okay. Will you be live? Can I watch it on Facebook Live?
I don't have anything.
There you go.
I just want to reiterate congratulations to Sydney.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble.
Yes, ditto. That's it.
No comment.
We don't have.
Yeah,
That's
motion
what
to
we have
approve
to
and
do.
sign voucher.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign vouchers.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And make a motion to adjourn at 7:58.
Ooh, I second.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.